I was on the Queen Mary 2 travelling from Dubai to India, and I heard on Sky News that Queen Elizabeth was going to come to Ireland, a historic first visit of Her Majesty to Ireland. And immediately I realised this is a huge historic occasion, and I got the idea. I was teaching painting, I'm an artist. I'd like to paint some of the scenes when she comes to Ireland. So I wrote to Buckingham Palace, and I wrote to the British ambassador in Dublin, and I got an email from the Department of Foreign Affairs 3 days before the Queen arrived, telling me that there were 1,200 journalists appointed for the visit and one artist, and I was going to be the artist. So I was thrilled with that and went to Dublin, and all the official photographs were being downloaded to my telephone, my mobile phone. I was able to work from some of the studies, and I did 10 paintings of the visit. The Queen has one, Mary McAleese has another, a third one, Princess Anne in London has it, and it was auctioned in the Grosvenor House, and the rest of the paintings were sold in White's Art Auction House and also in Christie's in London. I wrote to the Queen afterwards, and I told her that I was the artist and maybe she'd like to have one of the paintings. I never thought in my life that she'd reply to me, but she did. And the following August, I was invited to Buckingham Palace with my family, and we went over there and had a wonderful, wonderful day. And that was the first painting. It was the Queen and Mary McAleese in the Garden of Remembrance. I was quite nervous, nearly as nervous as I am now, in Buckingham Palace. And there was a reception, and there was a formal handover of the painting. And there was tea and biscuits. And my daughter said to me the other day, she said, remember to tell the story about the biscuits. And as I say, there was a formal handover of the painting, and there was tea, and I was nervous. I saw these biscuits on the plate, and they were shortbread biscuits with the royal insignia on them. And I said, wow, I'd love to take a few of those home. And as we were leaving the room, the private secretary noticed that I hadn't touched the biscuits. Everybody else left. She said, would you like to take some of them with you? I said I would, so I put about 6 of them in my pocket. And I was flying back to Dublin that night, and I thought that'd be nice to show the family. Anyway, it was a hot day in August, and within 10 minutes, I ended up with a pocket full of crumbs. So I never got them home. Walt Disney once said, believe in your dreams, no matter how impossible they seem. Shortly after that visit to Buckingham Palace, a lady rang me from Washington. She told me her name was Trina Vargo from the US-Ireland Alliance. She said, I see you painted the Queen from the Irish Times. I said, yeah, that's right. Well, she said, we'd like you to paint our president. And I said, well, I don't know the president of the US-Ireland Alliance. No, she said, it's not the president. It's the United States president, Mr. Obama. Would you like to paint him? I said, I'd love to, yeah. And he came to Moneygall, and I did 2 paintings. One of him in Moneygall, and the other one in Dublin when he made that famous Is Father Lynn speech. The painting was presented to the US ambassador and brought to the White House. And on July the 20th, 2012, I got a letter. I don't know whether you can read it or not, but it says, Dear Michael, we would like to extend our deepest thanks for your gift. Your thoughtfulness and generosity will be much appreciated. As our world grows increasingly interdependent, we look forward to working to the benefit of our 2 nations and to safeguard of our people. Thank you once again for the wonderful gift. We wish you all the best. Sincerely, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. So that painting is in the White House. Following year, 2012, I remembered that the 50th anniversary of JFK coming to Ireland. It happened in 1963, and it was nearly 50 years. So I wrote to Caroline Kennedy in the States, and I just explained that I was an artist. I wanted to paint some of the scenes. And the Kennedy Library sent me photographs, archival photographs of that visit back in June 1963. And I did a series of paintings, and they looked at them over in Boston, and they said they loved the paintings. So I said, well, would you like to have one? And they said, yeah, we'd like to have the one of Kennedy in Cork, 1963. So Aer Lingus flew me to Boston, and I presented it, and it's hanging in the Kennedy Library now. A few months later, Caroline Kennedy came to New Ross, and I presented one of the series to her. Earlier this year, I got a ring from a lady in Dublin, and she said, Michael, I was at that state banquet in St. Patrick's Hall, that famous night when Her Majesty the Queen stood up and she issued a few words in Irish.
Uachtaráin agus a Coide.
An Uachtarán agus the Card Gael. She said, Michael, you must do that painting again. Do it bigger. She was at that banquet, and I said, okay, well, I will do it. It's the scene at St. Patrick's Hall in Dublin Castle, and I was pretty pleased with the painting, and I wrote to the Queen in June of this year, and I just said, listen, it's 5 years since that banquet took place. It's your 90th birthday. Would you like to have this painting? And she wrote back about 4 or 5 weeks ago from Balmoral, and August 2016. Can you read that? Is it possible to read it? Dear Mr. Hanrahan, I'll try and read it. Thank you for your letter regarding the painting of the state banquet at Dublin Castle during the Queen's visit in 2011, and your wish to give this to Her Majesty. I have shown your letter to the Queen and confirm Her Majesty would be happy to receive this painting as a gift, commemorating the 5th anniversary of her visit to Ireland and the Queen's 90th birthday. I will ask my colleague Christopher Sanders to be in touch with you regarding delivery of this painting. Yours sincerely, Edward Young, Deputy Private Secretary to the Queen. So next month I bring my 3rd painting to Buckingham Palace, and it will be my 3rd painting in the Royal Collection. I'm told by Ian White of White Art Auction House that I'm the only living Irish artist with work in the Royal Collection. So I say to my doctor down in Lahinch, keep giving me the tablets because I want to live on.